Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Koehler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Koehler.
Well, hi team. I'm Fitz Koehler, your extraordinarily bossy fitness pro from fitzness.com, and welcome to the Fitzness Show. Today we're going to do a recap of the Enmarket Savannah Bridge Run, which was just a week or so ago, and it was freaking awesome. If you've never been to Savannah, you should. It's one of America's most charming towns. In fact, it's the town where you get to see a lot of in the movie Forrest Gump, where Forrest is sitting on the bench waiting for the bus, chatting with folks, eating his box of chocolate. That's in Savannah, and Forrest is a big part of that event, of course. It's a big part of the town. It's a big part of the event, but I love Savannah, and I've been announcing these races for at least 10 years between the public Savannah Women's Half Marathon, which is coming up in April. Everybody should register, and then the Enmarket Savannah Bridge Run, which is a fantastic event. I've been doing that one for, I think, at least 5 or 6 years. I think before COVID. Anyways, it's been a while. So we're going to get there. I also have some questions you have asked, and I have some answers, as I do, because I love to A your cues. And if you haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you're listening to the Fitzness Show. That means you will get notifications to say Fitz has made some noise. She's got something to say, and you should probably hear it. So if you subscribe, you'll get that. And honestly, if you have friends that are trying to get fit, trying to live better, trying to break free of their excuses, even if they haven't asked for it, send them my show. Send them a link. Say, hey, Cindy or Max or Keisha or whoever your friends are, say, I think you should listen to this. Pick an episode that you think will resonate with them. I've been trying to release an episode every day of December to stay in your ears. Why? Because I love you. Duh. And you have a month that many people consider the most challenging month of the year to stay fit. I never hear people complaining about March. Like, March is the worst. I can't focus on fitness in March, but December seems to have its obstacles with the holidays and whatnot. So I'm trying to stay on top of things. I had a brief hiccup this weekend, and I'll tell you about that eventually. I'm not up for that today, but I did fall short of my goal to release an episode every day. So for that, I'm sorry, but stuff happens, and I'm sure when you know, you'll understand. But blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Let's talk about the Enmarket Savannah Bridge Run. And if you were there, leave comments. Let me know what you think about this episode. Share your experiences too. That's one of my favorite things, is when you guys pitch in to the conversation. Because if it's not, it's just me rambling on, blah, 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 and you out on your runs or in the car or whatever you're doing, listening to me ramble on. So I love your feedback. So come on, share some. So this is kind of nuts and bolts of the event. It is 2 races. There's a 5K and a 10K. Both races go over the bridge. So the finish line is in downtown, the historic district of Savannah, for both races. It's the same unified finish line. But the start line of the 5K begins across the bridge. That's right. It's a bridge run. If you were listening, I told you, like, this is the theme. It's a bridge run. So the bridge is 1.8 miles long, I believe. So the 5K starts on the opposite side of the bridge, and they just do one trip across the bridge into downtown Savannah. The 10K begins right next to the finish line. Those folks go over the bridge, and then they do a loop, and they come back over the bridge. So you get to do the bridge twice. Now, there's another part of this event, which is pretty cool, and a lot of people partake. It's called the double pump. And the double pump is for the psychos who want to do the 5K, run over the bridge once. They cross the finish line, go directly to the start line of the 10K, then they cross the bridge 2 more times. So it's fantastic. I mean, it really, talk about outdoor athletic adventure. This is it. And that bridge is huge. It's a huge bridge. It's not the steepest bridge in the world, but it's a big old bridge. It's 1.8 miles across. I don't even know how that happens, honestly. I've driven over the bridge multiple times. I've never run the bridge, but I don't even know how you make a bridge that's 1.8 miles long. It's very confusing to me, and I should probably do the research, but it's a big old bridge. So before I get to the event itself, I want to let you know that leading up to it, the forecast called for major rain. So I'm sitting here in Gainesville, Florida, and our weather is not so dissimilar since we're a few hundred miles from each other. So I'm seeing rain in the forecast, thinking, okay, well, I can go get the frog togs. You know, those rain suits that hunters and fishermen wear? They're not pretty, but they're effective. And I'm planning on doing this. I had a set of frog togs and then they disappeared. Who threw them out? I'm not sure. I'm not going to point fingers, but that person probably knows who he or she is, and I'm not going to hold any grudges. But I was considering going to get the rain gear. But then on Thursday, the forecast says no, it will not rain in Savannah. It's going to be great. It's going to be cold. And really that weekend is usually cold and dreary. It's first weekend of December. And so, yeah, cold and dreary, but clear skies. So I thought, okay, I don't need the frog togs. I don't need to do it. But then on Friday, while I was about to leave town, weather started looking sketchy again. I said, you know what? There might be some rain at 11 a.m. And I think normally we're done with the whole thing by 10. But yeah, 11 a.m. rain might come in. And I thought, I'm going to bring a raincoat. I'm going to do that. And I actually brought my rain boots. I have multiple pair of rain boots because I am in Alachua County, Florida, and we're out in the mud and the dirt and the rain semi-frequently, but I have this cute pair I bought at Tractor Supply, and they're rubber on the bottom, and then they're kinda cushy at the ankles. They have a little fur on top. In fact, these are some of my favorite boots, and I'll tell you why. A, they're cute, they're fun, I love them, and they're weather appropriate. Whenever I walk the dogs, they're awesome for going through the wet grass or whatever I'm dealing with. But once I got on a plane with them, I mean, I probably have flown with them more than once, but one particular time, I was walking through first class, and there was this lady. She was wearing this pink, probably Chanel suit. She was so uptown. She was riding first class. And mind you, I ride first class at least 50% of the time. I'm not booging it, but I fly so often that Delta just gives me free upgrades. So they mistakenly put me at the front of the plane by the fancy people. I don't think I was sitting in first class on this day, but I get on the plane and I'm walking past this woman. She goes, oh, in a real sophisticated way, like, I love your boots. And I said, thank you very much. And I got them at Tractor Supply. Josh, she looked so sad. She looked very sad about herself that she would like boots from Tractor Supply. And then I topped her off by saying I got them on sale for $15. And it was, remember the Grey Poupon commercials where they were saying, can I have some Grey Poupon? And then the one guy said, can you please pass the jelly? And everybody was mortified. That's why I felt like I'd asked her to pass the jelly from Tractor Supply. So I really liked upsetting this woman with my Tractor Supply boots. But anyway, sir, I brought them. And so I had the Tractor Supply boots and a raincoat and, like tights and warm up pants over some sort of exercisey thing. But at night on Friday, it said it's going to be clear in the morning. It's going to be fine. So I woke up and I thought, yeah, I'll bring my raincoat. Thank God I thought I'll bring my raincoat because I almost didn't. I almost just went out in the hoodie. I bring my raincoat and I really wanted to wear my rubber boots. But the problem is, I'll tell you, is that at some point I have to sprint down the finish line to beat the champion. So I thought maybe they're not so good for running. Okay, so I don't want to drone about fashion, but it's very important at a weekend like this. And before I get there, I want to tell you that if you go to Savannah, there are things you have to do. And I wish I wasn't sharing this with you because I know it's going to make the lines even longer to go to Vinny Go-Go's, but it's this little hole in the wall pizza place, and all they have is pizza and little weird salads. But I used to think it was better than it is. I used to think, wow, this pizza's so great. Now I think the pizza is mediocre, but I still go there every time. And you have to go eat at Vinny Go-Go's. Right next door is the Savannah Candy Kitchen. God help me, your fitness expert is telling you to go to the Savannah Candy Kitchen, but you got to do it. It's part of the rules, and you're probably going to go be athletic there anyways. So I go in there and I get at least one chocolate-covered strawberry every time, but they've got apples and candied pecans or candied pecans or pralines, whatever you want to call them, pralines. Pronunciation aside, Savannah Candy Kitchen is a must, and so did that on Friday evening, and it was awesome. So Saturday morning, I get up, thank goodness, bring my raincoat, but I decide to wear my running shoes, which might have been an error in judgment, but headed out. I also had a special guest with me. My daughter's boyfriend, Nick, was along for the ride. Ginger was my co announcer. That's right. She has announced this race for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, and she does a bang up job. She's now completely in charge of the 10K start line. She's fantastic there. And then we share finish line duties for a while, and then we break apart while I go do costume contest awards and stuff, but she's a ton of fun, and it's so delightful to me to have another race announcer with me who shares the equal energy and the commitment to fun, right? Because sometimes there's an announcer who just reads the script and he has no personality and it's torture for yours truly. But for her, she shows up and I'm nothing but proud. I'm nothing but happy. And she keeps me in stitches because her commentary is second to none. So, anyways, her awesome boyfriend, he has never done an official 5K before. So he decided to do it. And Nick and I left the hotel together and we went over to ride the little shuttle. So if you do this race, likely you're going to board a shuttle in downtown Savannah and they take you all the way across the bridge. And it was pretty cold out that morning, but everyone was happy and in good spirits. And one of the other real niceties about this race weekend or race series is that they have costume contests every year. So many of our athletes dress up. And I know many of my listeners are the fun people too. So it's just nice, running 5K or 10K or 15K over a bridge probably isn't the easiest thing to do, but it certainly does make the whole experience a lot more enjoyable when there are some very silly people out there dressed in very silly outfits to keep the spirits bright, right? So Nick and I get on the shuttle. It's lovely, easy. We cross over the bridge. We were there about an hour early. And so this is one of my favorite times. I love start lines. Start lines are the time where it's the only part of race weekend where we're all together. You trickle in through the finish line and then people leave or they stick around or whatever. But the only time I really have access to everybody, or at least a big chunk of y'all, is at a start line. And the Savannah 5K start line, I mean, it's just awesome because my stage is right in front of the start line, and the people coming off the buses, they have to pass me by to get into their corrals. And it's just awesome because you get to see everybody. So I get to interact with everybody. And I have very close to no script. So they'll give me a list of sponsors or maybe a timeline, but it's just the Fitz Koehler show. It's just me and you. And I just have the best time interacting with all of the fun people coming by. It just like it never freaking ends. It's this quality parade of awesomeness. And, some of my highlights, well, I'll tell you about the costume contest later, but we had this group of ladies dressed as bumblebees, a whole swarm of bumblebees, black and yellow stripes with the little stingers and the antenna, super cute. We have corporate team competitions. So the biggest group, the winning group was SCAD, that's Savannah College of Art and Design. And I really enjoy the fact that they're artsy people coming out to be athletic because usually those things get pretty severely separated, right? Like if you are either an athlete or an artist, but no, not in Savannah, not with the Savannah College of Art and Design. Those folks are both artistic and athletic. And there was a bazillion of them in these blue shirts. They were loud and proud, SCAD folks. And yeah, they came out and they conquered the bridge. And it was great. And SCAD is a huge part of that community. So love seeing them. And we will be right back. Ho, ho, holy cow. The holidays are upon us and it's time to go shopping. That's right. If you are looking for a meaningful and affordable gift to give to all your friends and family, stop by fitzness.com. Right now, we're running a special on fitzness.com. It's order 4 books, get 1 free. And you can do that in like 7, 8, 10 sets of that, depending on how many friends and family members you have. Yeah, spend 20 something bucks on a book and upgrade your friends' lives forever. Help them look, feel, and perform better forever. Sounds like a generous gift to me. So go shopping at fitzness.com. No matter how many books you order, they all will come signed. They all will come with their special little Fitzy gift, and they will all be packaged with love. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus for the rest of us. We're back. What else we have? Well, the costume contest. I'm going to wait to tell you about that. It's for some reason I feel like I've told you about this. I don't know why, but I was looking through my podcast thinking, have I already recorded an episode on the Savannah Bridge Run? Have I already told everybody about these costumes? I don't think I have, but in my mind, I have. So I'm going to try not to feel redundant when I tell you about that stuff. But we also have a ton of military show up, and I just worship military, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force and Coasties and National Guard. And we have a rucking division, which is a group of folks who, climbing over the bridge or walking or running across a bridge isn't enough. They need to throw 20 to 50 pounds in a backpack and do it. And so madness, but I love it. Thank you very much. All brought to you by Team RWB. That's Team Red, White, Blue, which we love them. Their hashtag or their effort is to enrich veterans' lives, which we all should be working towards, right? Because who do we owe more to than our veterans, the protectors of these great freedoms we have? So thank you, veterans. And yeah, let's rucksack for those veterans. But what a big undertaking. So folks come in and we're chit-chatting, and I don't really pay attention to me. I go into I call it robot mode, but when I'm working, I don't feel uncomfortable ever. That served me very well when I was sick with cancer, and it serves me very well in unsavory weather because I don't feel too hot, I don't feel too cold. My body just turns into this senseless instrument. I just make noise and I focus on you, which precludes me from focusing on me, which actually turned into a little bit of a negative that morning because I'm out doing blah, blah, blah. And then I finally realized, oh, it's raining. And it's been raining for 10 minutes. And oh, dummy, you took your raincoat off when you got here. And so I'm just standing out there getting soaked and I just didn't even notice. So I have a hoodie on, pants, but I go and I put the raincoat on, which was kind of just too late, too little, too late. It continued to rain from there on out. For the rest of the morning, it rained. It was never torrential, but it was continuous. And it was maybe 50 degrees and it was freaking cold. And I was soaked. I was soaked like a real dummy. And I sure would have loved it if I were wearing my Tractor Supply rubber boots, but I wasn't. And I'll tell you why soon. But anyways, put the raincoat on at some point before the start. And, I shouldn't have ever taken it off, but you do what you do. We did have 2 new anthem singers this year. Always like to recognize those folks. For years on end, we've had a man, Ernie Ledesma, who did a wonderful job singing. He's an attorney in Savannah. I don't know, maybe he wasn't available, but we had these 2 young girls, high school students, I believe, and they were so cute, 2 females, and they had like a real excited, nervous energy, which was just adorable. It's nice to eat that up. I love it when people do courageous things. And I truly think that singing the anthem publicly is courageous. And I also think it's important, even if you have a terrible voice, you should sing the anthem loud and proud. But these girls were fantastic. It was Hannah Epperson, Layla Fennell from the Savannah Arts Academy. And yeah, it was really fun to peek in on their happy nerves. And I didn't really have any paper with me. So I had actually written down their name and then on a piece of paper, and then the paper went away. So I was concerned about mispronouncing their names or whatever. But thankfully, yay, Fitz Koehler, I was able to get it out. But Hannah's mom was with them and she was dressed so cute. She had a little furry vest. And I thought, what's spunk for some people to dress nice in dreary conditions? Most of us are hunkering down in a hoodie and whatever. Nope. She had this like leopard print and furry vest. I don't know, as stylish as you could be on a dreary, rainy race morning. And I respected that as well. Mom was Tiffany. Kudos to you, Tiffany. So moving forward, we line everybody up. And I think start time is supposed to be 8 a.m., which is a really nice start time, not too early, but we're not allowed to start things until the police say we can start. So sometimes we have an idiot from town will move a cone and drive onto our course. Well, we can't release thousands of athletes to go run a race if there are vehicles on the course. There's all these little hiccups that could happen. So if you're ever at a start line and things get delayed, know that it's safety, that they're trying to clear the course from likely some local bozo who felt like these rules don't apply to me, so I'm going to do the thing I want to do and to heck with everybody else. So, anyways, I'm ready to yell go at 8. I tell everybody we've got 30 seconds because I've been given the 30 seconds, and then race director comes over and he says, "We're not going to go in 30 seconds because now one of the motorcycle cops says we got to wait." Okay. And then we push it off a minute. And then I'm also told I can only start it on the exact 00 on the timing mat. So it's either 8 or 8:01 or 8:02. And so I think it was right before 8:02, I was given we're going to go. And so I said, okay, we've got 37 seconds. And then they said, no, we can't go this time. Okay. 8:03. Fortunately, those things don't rattle me and I can laugh them off. But I do feel like the court jester, saying the wrong thing sometimes, but that's part of the job. So no big whoop. Also, this race is under new ownership and I freaking love the new ownership. I had wonderful race directors for a very long time and then things just kind of changed as things do. But Mike and Chris, they now own this race series and deep breath of fresh air for me to have competent, kind, polite, professional, pleasant people at the helm really goes a long way. So thank you to those guys for being great bosses. But yeah, Mike works the start line. So this is the deal. Savannah is unique because it's point to point over a bridge, which means in other races that are point to point, I can let the runners go and they can run past me. I can wave hello to everybody until they all leave. And then someone can put me in a car and drive me a separate route to the finish line. Completely impossible in Savannah because the only way to the other side of the bridge is over the bridge. And so I have to yell go from the inside of a pace vehicle or right next to it. And so, much to my delight, Mike had told me that his pickup truck was the pace vehicle last year. I yelled go from the back of the pickup truck, from the flatbed, and then we took off. This time, because of the rain, he says, I got a spot right in the front seat for you, which I was very excited about. So I have to yell go, and then the pickup truck should go, and the runners come behind us. They follow us. We're following the law enforcement, and then the runners are following pace vehicle towards the finish line. That's how they know how to get there. And then the game plan is for maybe in the last quarter mile for the pace vehicle to zoom far ahead of our champion, our impending champions, and get me to the end of the finish line chute. And then from there, I have to leap out of the car, sprint down the finish line to get to the finish line, to get my microphone, to get the iPad so I can say, here comes Bob Jones from Atlanta, Georgia. Hooray. And so usually as I'm running down the chute, the fans that have gathered, our spectators, they, for some reason, think I am the champion, even though I'm usually in pants and I've got a backpack on and a cowbell and I'm running down the chute. People think I'm the winner and they start cheering. And I was saying, no. But that's why I didn't wear my rubber boots, is because I had to make the mad dash. And I was pretty convinced I couldn't do so quickly in the rubber boots. And mind you, I'm not very fast in general, right? So beating the fastest guy in Savannah at that moment is some work for me. So anyways, we're still at the start line. It's finally time to go. And runners, are you ready? And they go, rah! And then I give a big runners, set, go. Now, I could just jump in the car and we could leave, but the sound people want their microphone back. I have to pass off the microphone to the sound guy, and then the truck can go. Well, that got bobbled, kind of like in the Olympics where you see your favorite team and they can't pass the baton. It was a little like that, poor baton passing. So I give this guy the microphone, but he shakes, and then the pace car driver doesn't hit the gas. The motorcycle guys don't hit the gas. And now all of our runners are passing us. Not all of them, but some of our runners are passing us, which is not good at all. Not good. So pace truck starts moving and I'm like, go, go, go. But it's already happened. And the runners that were now running on the right side of the road, a handful of them have come to the left to run in front of the pickup truck. So thank goodness I'm so bossy and noisy, because I rolled down the window and I leaned out and I said, get on the right side of the road, move it. He started barking at these guys. And so thankfully they did what I told them to do and we zoomed ahead. But, never a dull moment at this start line. We just, you take a deep breath and you're game on, ready for whatever happens. I think I told a story at a recent episode about me almost falling out of the pace car, getting trampled. That was exciting. Go back and listen to I don't know, whatever the most recent full length episode of the Fitzness show was. Holy mackerel. But yeah, so there's always some sort of pace car experience. That's always a lot of fun. But again, I was very grateful to be on the inside of it today. Because if I was that day, if I was in the back, it would have been very cold and I would have survived it as per usual. But it was lovely to be indoors with the heat on and heated seats. And I don't know, the view of the bridge was pretty cool. However, when we got towards the top of the bridge where they have a photographer there for the athletes, I did roll the window down. I leaned out and I waved to the photographer and I got some pretty cool coming over the bridge and the big truck photos. If you've seen them on Instagram, this is what happened. This is where those big truck pictures came in. So thankfully, they get me to the end of the finish line shoot and I was able to run down. I did get the microphone and the name and time to give our champion his due, but chaos, right? Absolute chaos. So that was just great fun. Our champion, the women's champion of the 5K, love to say this, Libby Letourneau, she's run this race many times before. She was the champion of the 5K, 53 years young. 53, beat probably over 1,000 women under 53 that day. And so if you're one of those folks who are like, I'm 40, I'm old, shut up. Shut up and put your body to work. Make yourself better. You are not old. 30's not old. 40's not old. 50's not old. 60's not old. I mean, I could give you example after example of how 50, 60, 70 are not old because the people have chosen to take care of themselves. So be like Libby Letourneau. Maybe just memorize that name. And anytime you feel like a slug, you feel like a slacker, you feel like sitting in your bed doing nothing, you feel like eating garbage food, because it doesn't matter. Think about Libby Letourneau, 53, beating the tar out of 1 trillion women and many men that day. She was our champion. And I loved celebrating her. She is the exhibit A of how much of a badass you can be at any age if you put in the time and effort. Just put in the freaking work, right? Supercharge yourself. And then we had a guy in his 50s win. I think he won the 10K. I don't know. I wish I knew that guy's information. But at the awards ceremony, we had a lot of big celebrations, and they were mostly because the grown-ups were shining bright that day. And if you are a grown-up, like a full-fledged grown-up, not a recently out of college grown-up, but a real grown-up with bills and kids, all that stuff, know that you can go be a champion. You can go be a badass too. Just call Libby and she'll tell you how it's done. She'll probably tell you to buy my book, You Supercharged. But anyways, that was awesome. That was awesome. So I love getting there. I am so blessed with wonderful sound at this event. I'm blessed with wonderful timing. The iPad was a little wonky this day. The rain was getting in the iPad cover. And if you can imagine trying to read names with water droplets on them, eventually Chris took off the case of the iPad, which is such a brave thing to do with high-tech equipment, but we had no choice. And Ginger and I protected that thing with our lives. But we did have to keep wiping the screen on our pants so we could see all the names of the people coming through. But just fun, fun, fun experience. Even in the rain, even in the cold, all the faces were happy. All the attitudes were bright. All the costumes were awesome. With so many Grinches and Christmas elves. And it's always the same day as the SEC championship. So lots of Alabama gear, lots of Georgia Bulldog gear. And, Ginger and I, I'm pretty sure our blood is orange and blue. I think if you cut us, that's what you're going to see. We spent the whole morning saying things like roll tide and go dog, roof, roof, roof. So, you got to dive in. You got to dive in and celebrate all the people. There was a Jets fan, and I leaned over and I went, J-E, and he followed T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets. Even though their team is being, throttled by almost everybody else in the NFL this year, he had a lot of pride and, nobody likes to lose on the regular. Us Gators have had a good experience with that this year. It's humbling, but that's okay. That's okay. Always a winner. Always a winner. I'd much rather be a losing Gator than a winning anything else. And apparently that man feels the exact same way about the Jets. So Ginger left her at the finish line and she just took splendid care of all of our athletes. And I go over to a little area nearby. There's auditorium with big steps that we do the awards presentations on. And despite the weather, folks stuck around. Crazy, crazy how many people just said, yeah, we're here for not for a long time. We're here for a good time. And they got their free beer and they sat and enjoyed the awards ceremony, which was great. Oh, and the awards, absolutely phenomenal. For our first, second, third place winners, I believe they got belts, championship belts, as if you were a boxer or a WWF guy. That was the award for winning the bridge, which I thought was so fun. And our athletes really loved that. So kudos to the crew who decided on that. And then we had the costume contest. And the costume contest is always great. We do individuals and we do groups. And I think the first place is $400, second place gets $200, third place gets $100. And so third place for the individual was this mother-son duo. Bless her heart. She is such a great mom. She's an athlete and her son had a traumatic brain injury a couple years ago. And so I think it was 2 years ago when he had brain surgery. And so a month later, she brought him out in a racing chair. She raced with him and they wore festive Christmas outfit. And so they won something in the costume contest. I can't remember what place, but it was wonderful to have them. She did the same thing last year, same thing this year. So they won third. And then second place was a woman. She was Frosty the Snow Woman. And so good. White outfit. She had white face paint. She had the big corncob nose. She had the top hat. She was Snow Woman perfection. She won second, but it was very tight. It could have gone either way, but I loved her. And the champion was this guy, Earl. Earl, who I've spoken about Earl quite a few times on this podcast because he comes every year. He has run the bridge 31 times. And this time he came out as the Candy Man. That's right. Earl goes by the Candy Man, but he wore a onesie and he had a candy cane hat with all sorts of candy canes and he threw candy canes and people cheered loud for Earl. So Earl won that. Earl Hume, but love him. And it's just fun to have the fun people. I love it when the same people return. You know, even though I only show up in Savannah once or twice a year, and sometimes I only see certain people once a year, oh, it's just, I feel like they're family. You know, I feel like Earl and I have had Thanksgiving together. We have not. I've never been to Earl's home. He's never been to mine, but I get those kind of warm and fuzzies when I see Earl. And so a super delight for him. Also, our other Savannah favorite, which I have to mention, is Got Gumped. That's right. We have a Forrest Gump that is full blown committed to the Savannah running community. He shows up, he never breaks character. And I get to be his Jenny for the morning whenever he walks or runs. But he does Savannah Women's in April. And usually he goes and parks himself on a bench. He wears the suit and he brings the suitcase. Oh, it's just as sweet as can be. And then he ran Savannah Bridge Run, the 5K, as running Forrest. You know, Forrest who just kept running and running and running. I like to run. That guy, that's who he was this year. And he's delightful. He's such a nice person. And I also follow him, his private account on social, but he's got Gumped on Instagram. And I just love him. And you can look at the people I follow and then follow him. But what a treat. What a treat. Okay, so the costume group competition was fantastic. Sadly, the bumblebees had already left. So I feel sad about the bees leaving, the swarm of bees, but they were great. We had two girls in the, Happy Yalla-days. So they were two country girls were in pink, fuzzy overalls and some sort of other Santa stuff. They were very cute, but Yalla-days. They got $200, $100 each for showing up in their little overalls, which I think was well worth the investment. And then our championship group, so good. They were Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville. This is what I'm labeling them, but there was maybe a dozen of them. They were in, I would say, 60s, 70s. Such a wild and fun group of athletes. They had everything. So there was a Jimmy Buffett. It was the one guy and he had the beard and the guitar and the floral shirt and that adorable vibe. And then there were two women dressed like margarita glasses. And then there was a shaker of salt, salt. And there was a pop top flip flop. And there was a side of lime. There was a cheeseburger in paradise. What else? There was a sunshine. I think there was a 5 o'clock somewhere clock. Oh, it was so good. It was just so good. And, RIP Jimmy Buffett, but they won. They won overall and they deserved it. It's just, that's the running community. For many of you who've not done a race, know that this is the running community too. Of course, there's our superstar runners and, the Kenyans who are the fastest humans alive and so forth. But then there's just this bunch of regular people who say, oh, 3.1 miles, I can do that. Oh, and I can dress silly. I'm definitely in. So just a wonderful, happy, happy event. And Nick, I'm not going to leave you hanging there. Nick crushed his very first 5K, got over the bridge like a boss. And sweetly enough, Ginger had just gotten to the finish line. And when she put the microphone up to her mouth, the very first person she saw was her boyfriend coming through the finish. So she got to welcome him in, which I know was very meaningful and just great. Oh, and then another high point. Are you ready for this? On the way out of Savannah, on the way home, we got to stop at Buc-ee's. And I'm not sure, but this might be the world's largest Buc-ee's. This thing is insanity. Have you ever been to a Buc-ee's? If not, you're probably curious. It's the world's most famous gas station. It's ridiculous. It's a gas station, but this Buc-ee's was the size of a grocery store or a Target. Half of it is filled with Buc-ee's merchandise, Buc-ee's hats and shirts and stuffies. And then there's Buc-ee's snacks and Buc-ee's drinks and all the things. All the thing. Apparently the deli is super great. I don't eat meat, so I didn't partake in that, but people love the deli. And then they have some other kind of Western gear, but you can't go wrong with Buc-ee's. Also, I got to meet Santa Bucky, which was very exciting for me. I'm a huge fan of the Santa Claus. If you didn't know that, he's my favorite. And yeah, to meet Santa Bucky, like a twofer right there on winning. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Buc-ee's on the way home. I love these Savannah races. If you've not come, highly recommend you do. Folks, if you were there and I've missed something, please chime in. I mean, obviously you can't do it right now on the podcast, but comment on the show on Instagram or on Spotify or whatever it is. I want to know about your thoughts, and I'd be happy to add them to some more conversation about the Enmarket Savannah Bridge Run. But it was fantastic, and as usual, I'm super grateful. And the other thing, hip hip hooray! Are you ready for this? Last race of the year for me. That's right. So even though I love my career and I worship race announcing, I'm done and I get to be home at least until mid-January. And so I'm very grateful for that. I love the travel. I love connecting with you all. I love making happy noise for wonderful athletic people, but there's something really special about just being home, and that's it. Yeah, I'm home, and it came in real handy this week. In fact, I normally announce a race a second weekend of December, and that didn't happen this year. And I will tell you soon, but I'm so grateful I was not at that race. So 3 cheers for me, 3 cheers for an incredible 2025 full of running and racing. And I mean, golly, maybe I've had 500,000 athletes this year. And I feel like I've met you all, even if we didn't really meet, even if you were just standing in front of me for an hour. I love you all. I'm privileged to the nth degree and I don't mean privileged in the weird woke sense. I mean privileged that what a blessing you are to me. I try to serve you well, but you serve me equally well. And it's just, I'm grateful. I am grateful.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback series by Fitz Koehler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's fitzness.com. Fitzness.com.
Okay, I'm going to move on to a couple questions that I received that I think are worth answering. I always put up in my Hottie Body Fitness Challenge group once a week, drop a question about fitness, health, running, or life. And so I get a lot of great questions, and Valerie Marble has one for me. So she asks about DEXA scans. She says, scales with handles have started popping up in my Facebook feed. Are they worth the hype? And if so, which ones are worth the money? So scales with handles. I I don't really have a lot of faith in that. Your ability for you to just put your hands and it's going to tell you your body fat and your water percentage and stuff. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of faith in that particular. In fact, there's a lot of more sophisticated scanning machines that people have significant doubts on. So I don't know if I'd buy that. I would use a scale for what a scale is. Scale should tell you how much you weigh. And if you keep it there, I think you can't go wrong. However, the DEXA scan, I actually had an episode, I think it was last year, specifically on DEXA scan. I have a friend here in town who owns a DEXA facility. She invited me in and scanned me. I thought it was fascinating. It showed exactly how much body fat I had and how much my bones weighed, and, which is not much. Think about how much do human bones weigh? I'll let you think. Seems like they'd weigh a lot, right? Especially because sometimes obese people say, well, I'm just big boned. My bones weighed, I think she said 12 pounds. That's it. My whole bones from including my skull, 12 pounds. Bonkers to me. I've looked online and there's some other evidence that bones may weigh as much as 18 pounds, but 18 pounds. If you weigh 250 pounds, you can't blame your bones, right? But anyways, DEXA scan. It showed me that I had more muscle mass on one arm versus, my right arm had more muscle mass than my left arm, which made perfect sense. Left arm is where I had the surgery and radiation so forth, or that the left chest and armpit area. So I have suffered a bit and I'm working on getting it back. But yeah, there was a lot of quality information that came from an actual DEXA scan. So if you want to know those things, I don't know. I'm not going to spend my money on a gadget where you hold on with your hands and it's supposed to tell you much of anything. Much of anything. I don't know. I mean, technology is pretty impressive. This is true. I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know. So yeah, use a scale as a scale. And then if you want to know more, maybe invest in a DEXA scan. I think you can get the body scan for $150. And if it's within your budget or something you're worth saving up for, or you think is worth saving up for, it could be handy dandy. So for example, I did the DEXA scan and it really motivated me to work harder on my left side. It would be very interesting now, a year or so later, to go have another scan and see if I've actually achieved the equality I was hoping for on both sides of my body. So yeah, balance, symmetry. DEXA may be really useful for that. Okay. And then Michael Jones, he says, and Michael, I'm so proud of you. Michael had 2 brain surgeries in the past month and he's doing so fantastic. He's a all-star making Parkinson's look weak, and he's going to come on the show soon to tell us about his experience. But Michael asked, what has been your favorite part about my recent book release, and how can your hotties help you? Well, that's very sweet, Michael. Michael's always very generous with me. So my favorite part, I mean, I've been wanting you all to read this, right? I wrote it for you. I wrote it because I wanted to change your life. I want my information to absorb into you. And so the fact that so many of you have bought it, and I love your pictures. I've asked specifically, please, when you get your book, share a photo online. That's, A, it fills my heart up with joy, but B, it's great marketing. How do I get to people like you? So you care about fitness. I'm guessing most of my listeners have bought my book. If not, what are you waiting for? You trust me, right? You believe what I'm saying and get the freaking book. But then I imagine some of your friends have similar values, similar goals. Maybe you run in a community of people who care about their health. They're trying to eat better. They would like to live longer. They would like to not break a hip and die at 75, right? So when you post a picture with this new book, people say, oh, well, Michael has this new book and he really cares about fitness. Maybe I should try that book too. So I really like that. But the feedback I've received so far has been so fun. I mean, I love the aha moments and I love the excitement and I love the people that are making progress. Hi, I started reading your book. I'm 5 pounds down. Okay. Wow. So that's what I love. It's all very fun to me. It's just a very rewarding process. I love signing the books. I love shipping them when I go to the post office or UPS or wherever the heck we're shipping. It feels very positively productive for me. I take a big deep breath and I feel joyful when I send them out to you. The packaging is fun. I have beautiful packaging because I want you to feel the love. And, the whole process is really fun. Some of the process is really harrowing too and hard. As many of you know, I'm a one-woman army. It's just me. Sometimes I have interns, but I certainly don't have a boss. My dogs are my leadership, right? Piper, my vice president, and Joey, he's the media director. He's at my side right now, always making sure I'm doing my best with the podcasting. He never, ever will let me do a podcast without him here, which I appreciate so much. But other than that, any marketing I do is me. I have to figure it out. And so the fact that you guys share, that's it. Just sharing. Thank you. Thank you for doing that already. And if you haven't done it and you're willing to do it for me, or for your friends that you would like to live better and longer, thank you. Thank you for that. So, okay, those are my questions for the day. And then communication tip of the show. Wish everybody a happy freaking holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Festivus. Get into the spirit. It's a nice thing to do. Don't be shy. I know there's been a strange group of people that have said, like, don't say Merry Christmas and don't say Happy Hanukkah and don't screw those folks. Just enjoy whatever you celebrate. Wish the others. If somebody wishes me a Happy Hanukkah, even though I don't particularly celebrate that, I will take it with the kindness it was intended and say thank you and Merry Christmas to you. So go there. I think you should. I think you should go there. It's fun. Remember when we were kids and everybody said things like that? I don't know. I like it. And I think we should all take part again. I lead by example. Happy freaking Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever. Get it out of your system. Enjoy December. Make it great. Okay. And since I was just in Savannah, song of the show is one of my favorite songs of all time. Devil Went Down in Georgia by Charlie Daniels Band. That is such a great song for driving, for karaoke, for weightlifting, for running, for yoga. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk yoga soon too, because I just had a very hotly contested yoga post on social. But yeah, thanks for listening, folks. Put Savannah on your list. Know that at the end of January, I'm announcing the Donna National Marathon to Finish Breast Cancer. That's a 5K, half marathon, full marathon, a 110-mile ultra marathon. There's a 1-mile Donna Dash 2. Please come down to Jacksonville Beach, Florida. You will not regret it. It's January 31st, February 1st. You can register at breastcancermarathon.com. My discount code is fitzness. It will save you a certain amount. And if you would just like to participate in our virtual event, it's a 110-mile ultra. And you can start putting in miles now. There's a simple tracking process. And yeah, that'll earn you a shirt and a bib and a cool ultra belt buckle. And then at the end of February, I am announcing the Publix Gasparilla Distance Classic. There's a 5K, an 8K, a 15K, and a half marathon. Half the runners dressed like pirates. I'm in full pirate gear. It is so much fun. It is a world-class event and something you do not want to miss out on. So escape to Florida in February. I mean, come on. Is there any place better to be in February? I think not. So that's it for today. I love you. Tune in tomorrow for your poke. Get to work. Bye, team. Mwah!
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children the chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Koehler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.